Welcome to NFL Nexus, the place where we go way beyond the box score to break down what's really happening in the league. Today, we've got a fascinating one for you. We are doing a deep dive into the massive coaching overhaul happening down in Miami with the Dolphins. And trust me, this is way more than just a few new faces. It's a complete philosophical reset, and we are going to deconstruct every single piece of it. To make sure you get future deep dives like this all season long, do us a quick favor and hit that subscribe button right now. You are not going to want to miss what we have coming up.
Okay, so let's get right to the big question, the one that's been buzzing around the league. Why are people suddenly calling the Miami Dolphins Packers South? It's a catchy nickname for sure, but it's not just a coincidence. Look, in the NFL, it's totally normal for a new head coach to bring a couple of his trusted guys with him. That's just how it works. But what's happening in Miami, well, that's on a whole other level. This nickname points to a very deliberate, very strategic effort to basically transplant the culture and philosophy of one team directly onto another. And in this breakdown, we're going to unravel exactly what that means, why it's happening, and what it could mean for the future of the Dolphins.
So, to really get our heads around this whole thing, here's our game plan. First, we'll set the stage by looking at the dawn of Miami's new coaching era. Then, we'll get into the main event, that Packers South migration, and you'll see just how deep it goes. After that, we've got a really fun spotlight on a coach with maybe the best nickname in football, the Ball King. From there, we'll flip over to the offense to see how they're reloading with a really interesting mix of old friends and new faces. And finally, we'll put all the pieces of the puzzle together to figure out what this new Dolphins identity is all about.
You know, every massive change in an organization starts with one key decision. It's that first domino that just sets everything else in motion. For the 2026 Dolphins, that first domino was, without a doubt, the hiring of new head coach Jeff Hafley. Hafley is coming straight from his job as the Green Bay Packers defensive coordinator, and his reputation around the league is pretty clear. He's got incredible energy, he's a super detailed teacher, and most importantly, he knows how to build aggressive, turnover-hungry defenses. His arrival is the spark for everything we're about to talk about. He's not just filling a job opening, he's the architect bringing a whole new vision to South Beach.
And let's be absolutely crystal clear here. This is not just about one new head coach. What we are witnessing is a sweeping, top-to-bottom staff overhaul. This is a calculated plan to redefine the team's entire on-field identity. From the ground up, it goes so much deeper than just the plays they call on Sunday. This is about changing the culture, the philosophy, the very DNA of the team from Monday all the way through Saturday. They are literally rebuilding the whole coaching infrastructure.
Which brings us right to the heart of it all, the Packers South migration. That nickname didn't just pop up out of nowhere. It exists for one very simple, very obvious reason. A huge chunk of key personnel, I'm talking front office, coaches, support staff, are all coming from one place and one place only, Green Bay. This isn't just a couple of guys carpooling down to Florida. It's a pipeline, an expressway, flowing directly from Lambeau Field to Miami, and it's bringing a very specific, tried-and-true way of winning football games with it.
All right, let's really dig into this lift, because when you see it all laid out like this, it's pretty staggering. This is a coordinated move. It starts at the very top. You've got the new general manager, John Eric Sullivan, a former Packers exec, who's now in charge of the entire roster. He goes out and gets his guy, Jeff Hafley, as the head coach. And from there, it just keeps going. Look at Ryan Downard, who's now in charge of the defensive passing game, a hugely important job in today's NFL. You've got Todd Hunt from the strength staff, whose influence touches every single player on the roster. Wendell Davis, a quality control coach we're going to talk a lot more about in a second. And then, the big one, Sean Duggan, the Packers linebackers coach, who is heavily rumored to be the new DC. This is a full-scale import of an entire institutional mindset.
Now, speaking of that defensive coordinator spot, here's where things get really interesting. This is a little bit of front office 4D chess. You might be asking, well, if Sean Duggan is their guy, why haven't they just announced it? It all comes down to league rules and the compensatory pick system. See, the Dolphins also interviewed another guy, Anthony Weaver. And there's a rule that says if a minority candidate from your staff gets hired as a head coach somewhere else, your team gets awarded compensatory draft picks. So, if another team hires Weaver as their head coach, the Dolphins would get two very, very valuable third-round picks. So by playing it cool and waiting, Miami's keeping its options open and could end up with a huge bonus in draft capital just for being patient. It's a super shrewd move that shows you they're thinking about team building from every possible angle.
So it's one thing to talk about a philosophy, right? It's another thing to see it come to life on the field. And honestly, nothing illustrates Jeff Hafley's defensive mindset better than the story of his Ball King. This is where a big abstract idea becomes a real, tangible thing for the players every single day. And frankly, it's one of the coolest coaching ideas I've seen in a long time.
This quote from Jeff Hafley about his quality control coach, Wendell Davis, just says it all. He's not kidding around. He literally told everyone, players, staff, even the media, if you see this guy, call him BK or Ball King. And then he immediately connects it to this huge, ambitious goal, leading the entire league in forced fumbles. This is so much more than a funny nickname. It's a public mission statement. It's a genius way to make a core principle of your defense right into the daily language of the team.
So what in the world is a ball king? Well, it's a coach whose entire job, his one and only focus, is to run a team-wide competition completely dedicated to creating turnovers. I mean, think about that for a second. Most position coaches have a bunch of responsibilities. The ball king has one mission: get the football back. He is the living, breathing reminder of the defense's #1 priority. He's the hype man, he's the scorekeeper, he's the champion of the cause. It's just a brilliant, modern way to make a key part of your identity stick.
And here's how this system actually works. It's a pretty simple but psychologically powerful 4-step process. Step 1, you set a crazy, ambitious goal that everyone can get behind. Lead the league in takeaways. Step 2, you turn it into a game. Hafley breaks the defense down into smaller teams, and they compete against each other every single day for points. Step 3, you track everything. You award points for interceptions, for forced fumbles, for scooping up a loose ball, even for just punching at the ball in practice. It makes every rep matter. And then the final crucial step, you give the whole system a champion, the ball king, to keep the energy high and make sure nobody ever forgets the goal. It's a fantastic way to use competition to drive real results. This is exactly the kind of nerdy detail we love to get into here on the channel. If you appreciate it too, do us a favor and give this explainer a like. And hey, speaking of support, we've got a quick word for all you fans out there. You can help support what we do here by checking out our coloring books. They're perfect for the kids and grandkids in your life, but you know what? They're also a great way for adults to just relax and unwind. You can find them by scanning the QR code on your screen or just by clicking the link in the description below. Your support really does help us keep making these deep dives.
Okay, so we've spent a lot of time on the defense and this whole Packers South thing, but obviously you can't win with just one side of the ball. This overhaul isn't just a defensive project. The offense is also getting a major facelift, and what's really interesting here is how they're doing it. While the defense is being built with this mass import from one single place, the offense is being built with a much different strategy, a blend of different approaches. It's not one size fits all.
And you can see this perfectly with these two key hires. On one side, you have the new offensive line coach, Zach Yenser. His hiring is all about synergy and familiarity. He has a deep, existing relationship with the offensive coordinator, Bobby Slowick. They've worked together before, they speak the same language, he's a known quantity. But then on the other side, you've got the new running backs coach, Liddell Betts. As far as we know, he has no prior professional connection to Hafley or Slowick. He's a true outside hire, brought in to add a fresh perspective and a different point of view to the offense. It just shows that this staff is willing to use different strategies to solve different problems.
So let's take a closer look at Zach Yenser, because this is such a critical hire. He's coached with the Texans and a Kentucky, but the line on his resume that really matters, the reason he's in Miami, is his time with the 49ers. That's where he works side by side with Dolphins OC Bobby Slowick. That shared history is just priceless. The connection between an OC and an O-line coach is one of the most important in football. They have to be perfectly in sync on everything from protection calls to run schemes. By bringing in a guy who already knows your system and your terminology, you skip a huge learning curve. It lets you hit the ground running from day one.
All right, now let's talk about the new blood, because this is a really cool hire, Liddell Betts. He's not just some random coach. First of all, he was a decorated running back in the NFL for years, which gives him instant credibility and respect in that running back room. But he's not just some former player coasting on his name. He's a coach who brings a really diverse background and, most importantly, some very recent, very impressive success to the Dolphins.
And his career path, when you look at it on this timeline, is just awesome. It shows a real passion for teaching the game. He plays 9 tough years in the NFL. Then, instead of just kicking back, he goes back to the grassroots. He coached high school football right there in South Florida for 8 years. That's where you learn how to really connect with and develop players. From there, he climbs the ladder. He goes to his alma mater, Iowa, which is famous for its physical running game. That gets him his first shot in the NFL with the Giants, and now he's with the Dolphins. This is a guy who has seen football from every single angle.
And if you want hard proof that this guy's coaching works at the highest level, just look at this number right here. In his one and only season as an NFL coach, the New York Giants had the 5th best rushing offense in the entire league. Now let that sink in. The Giants were not a good team that year. They only won 4 games. But in the middle of all that chaos, their run game, coached by Liddell Betts, was an elite unit. That kind of immediate traumatic impact on a team that's struggling, well, that's what gets you noticed by front offices around the league.
And to really understand how big of a move this is, you have to know who he's replacing. Eric Stoodsville had been the Dolphins running backs coach since 2018. The guy survived 2 head coaching changes. He was there through Adam Gase and Brian Flores. He was a constant in that building. For this new group to come in and move on from a guy that respected and that tenured, well, that's a massive statement. It tells you that this is a true, no stone left unturned reset. Nobody is being grandfathered in.
All right, so we've looked at all the individual hires, the defensive philosophy, the offensive strategy. Now it's time to put it all together. Let's zoom back out and connect all these dots. When you look at this new coaching staff as a whole, what does it tell us about the kind of team the Miami Dolphins are trying to become in 2026?
When you boil it all down, a really clear picture starts to form. On defense, you're going to see a team that is obsessed with taking the ball away, driven by that competitive ball king system. That's going to be their identity. On offense, the foundation is that built-in synergy in the passing game between the OC and the O-line coach, making sure the quarterback is comfortable from day one. Then, you've got a clear commitment to a physical running game, led by a rising star coach in Liddell Betts. And wrapping around all of it is this massive infusion of the Packer way, a winning culture that they are systematically trying to install in every single part of the organization.
And all of this leads us to the big final question for this team's future. With all of these moves, have the Dolphins really forged a brand new, unique identity for themselves? Or, by bringing in so much talent and so many ideas from one single place, are they just trying to become a copy of the Packers, but in a warmer climate? It's a great question, and we're only going to find out the answer on the field. So what do you think? Is this the right move for Miami? Is it innovation, or is it just imitation? Let us know what you think down in the comments. Thanks so much for joining us for this deep dive on NFL Nexus. Don't forget to support the channel by checking out our coloring books, and we'll see you for the next breakdown.